Hey everybody, this is Josh Hagen and Tommy Macias. So for people that don't know who Tommy is, you probably don't follow that much judo. So Tommy is world silver medalist, European champion, longtime member of the Swedish national program. Um, Anything else you want to add to that?
No, that was a good introduction.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I'm from Sweden as well.
Oh yeah, from Sweden,
Oh, you said
of
that.
course.
Yeah.
And then my name's Josh Hagen. So I'm the high performance coach, director of development for Saskatchewan in Canada. It's a province in Canada. And I commentated the last two Olympic Games for the CBC here in Canada and competed a little bit internationally many moons ago. I was training at the same time as guys like Nick Tritton and Fraser Will and Sasha McMedovich. All of them are Olympians from Canada. So yeah, so that's our background, and we want to talk a whole bunch of judo. So we talked about putting something together, and sometimes, like in judo, timing is better than perfect execution. And so while we don't have everything exactly the way we want it, uh, with the Olympics just happening, seemed like a good time to get started on having some judo chats. So
Yes.
so there are so many things we can talk about the Olympics, and I don't know if we should start with the really negative stuff or the exciting stuff first, or where you want to go.
I think we should start about the overall, like
Okay.
what we get from the Olympics. Um, like for me, I thought it was really nice.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the whole Olympics. I know, like on social media, it's been a lot of negative stuff about the Olympics, but for me, it was a really good tournament and good fights.
Yeah, I like it's a little different when you're doing coverage than just watching. So my experience from when I watched the Olympics before compared to commentating Tokyo and Paris is very different because one, my recollection's not always as good because I have to live in the moment of like commentating on air, but also yeah, it's just like it's sort of a different mindset. I don't just sit there and absorb it and enjoy it or hate it. It's like I'm part of the process. So that makes it a little tricky. But I do think a lot of the negative comments about judo comes from a place of not understanding why we got to where we got to in terms of like, for instance, refereeing and calls. So that doesn't mean that I think all calls are perfect or that I agree with our entire rule set, but I do think some of the pushback on areas is it comes from a place of like not understanding or not putting it in context of time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree. I think a lot of like if I read on Facebook or somewhere else, they're commenting a lot of the refereeing and this, and it's a bad call,
Hmm.
but they don't really know the rules. Like
Right.
I think it's like they only watch the Olympics and the judo at the Olympics and don't know what rules are.
Right.
Because I think they were the referee were doing a good job. They were following the rules mostly of the time. Of
Right.
course, they can make a mistake, but I think the right person always the best person always enough as a winner,
Yeah,
not
pretty
like a
much.
super mistake. So
Yeah, so I guess the one that is sort of a negative, but I don't necessarily think of it as a negative necessarily, is because we're sort of there already, is Shidos. So a lot of people are talking about the fact that so many athletes win or lose matches by Shido. Those Shidos often happen in golden score, and those matches often happen in big moments. These are gold medal matches and bronze medal matches. So Krista Deguchi of Canada won her Olympic gold medal on Shidos. Now, if you just look at it that way and you think you should win judo by throwing or pinning or armbarring or choking somebody, then it feels like Shidos is a stupid way to win a match. But the context for that I think people may have forgotten, when I was competing, I'm a little bit older than you. So I don't know how much you would have competed in this rule set, but it used to be that at the end of regulation, the match ended and then it went to referee's decision on who won the
that's right.
match.
Yeah.
And that was horrible. Like, we're not an artistic sport. So you and I compete. For people that don't have a lot of experience or they're so young they don't remember or don't know. You and I compete. We fight for used to be 5 minutes. We fight for 5 minutes. There's no decision, there's no score, and there's no penalties. And we both have had a good match. Two judges on the side, one ref in the middle says, I think Josh did a better job. Tommy's not that good. That'd be the only time anyone ever says that in this context. But let's go with Josh killed Tommy and did all these sweet moves, even though he's unsuccessful, even though our attack rate might have been similar. I think it should go to Josh. I think it should go to Tommy, and that would decide the match. So yeah, penalties didn't decide it, but it was like an arbitrary call by referees. To get away from that, we went golden score, and either a score ends it or penalties. And me personally, as a judoka and as a coach, give me that over refs just randomly deciding.
For sure. And I think I read some comment on Facebook. They said, yeah, but some people that are new to judo, they want to see the ippon and they only see winning by Shido or something. But still, like I think if I compare it to the biggest sport in the world, football or soccer,
Yeah.
what you want to see when you look at it, you want to see goals. And
Mhm.
normally it's like 3 goals in a 90 minutes.
Total between the two teams.
Yes, totally. Between, and I promise you, it's more than 3 ippons in 90 minutes if you look at judo.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it's still more interesting than soccer. So
Right. And the other thing is like there's tons of matches in football or soccer, whatever you want to call it, that end in 1-0 or end 0-0 or
yes,
go to penalty shots. Like same thing. Now in the context of football or soccer, imagine the game was 90 minutes and at the end of 90 minutes and it's 0-0, two judges and a referee said, "You know what? I think the Swedish team was better than the Canadian team," and they just gave them the win. Wouldn't you rather it go to some reason for a rule set that, like that's what we used to do. So it's not perfect. And I know it's not like the most beautiful thing to win by penalties, but it used to be people would just decide it and you go, yep, that's it. So,
yeah. But on that, if we don't have any penalties, then you can do so defensive judo, so bad judo, and
right,
that will for sure not lead to any more ippons.
right, for
So we
sure.
have to have the rule sets that allow people to do good judo, and then some people are afraid to fight,
Right,
so they do a defensive judo, and then they get penalized for it.
right. Yeah, I
I think
think,
it's I think it's really few judokas that play for giving the other one shido. There are a few, but most people are looking for the throw.
right. Yeah, I think it's like a misunderstanding or like like how we got here. Like those penalties, some of those penalties, it might seem silly, but it's like that really supports creating opportunities to make sure the ippons happen. And I think that's the part that's sort of lost here. And um, so yeah, that
I think it's a lot of better judo today than it was 20 years ago.
right. And yeah, and the other one that's I always find funny is someone will post a highlight reel, and that highlight reel will be like, look how good judo used to be. It's like that's a highlight reel.
yeah.
Do you think that's what the matches look like? Is your memory that bad? Like, let's put together a highlight reel
But
of the.
it is that bad. It is that bad because I looked at some. Yeah, also thought it was much better before. Like when you could grab the legs, it was so good highlights. Then I saw a movie. I saw a fight from I think it was the 2000 Olympics, and it was so bad judo. They were
Mhm.
only looking for the kuka the whole time, and they were like standing like this, and it was really bad judo. So
Right.
I
That
understand why the IJF made some rules that would make judo more attractive, and it is more attractive today.
right.
Maybe it was good highlights before, but
But here's the thing. Let's do a highlight reel of judo right now. Holy cow, amazing.
yeah.
So you're comparing a highlight reel to watching full matches and you're being like, look what judo used to look like and look what it looks like now. Yeah, it looks great. It's not perfect. No rule set's going to make everyone happy, but like judo was really good, is really good, and you can't compare matches to highlight reels. That's just silly.
And a lot of people now also complain that IJF are always changing the rule sets. But that's one thing I like with IJF, that they are trying to make it better the whole time.
Hmm.
If they look at the rules and say, okay, was maybe not so good, then
Hmm.
they change the rules and hope they will be better in the future.
Right.
I don't think a lot of other sports do that.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think one rule that's interesting, not interesting, one rule that is causing a stir that I agree with, there needs to be some change, is the head diving rule. So to
yeah.
me, we hit our heads or our heads brush the mats when we do judo often when we fall or throw. And so currently the rule is if my head touches the mat before any other body part other than my feet, and my uke didn't drive me in or my opponent didn't drive my head in, then I'm directly hansoku'd. And what I personally think is us hitting the back of our head, us brushing the side of our head, us hitting our forehead is not the thing that's going to dangerously put us in a bad position. Landing on the top of the head is where it's a problem because that's when your neck can fold. So if they just changed it to like the angle, if they said only if the like dome of the top of the head is the first part to make contact, that's direct Hansoko Make. It's okay, that's reasonable because that's in a position to injure yourself. But if I'm doing a throw and my ear brushes, the back of my head touches on an uranage, I don't think that's endangering me any more than any other part of judo. So I do think that change would be significant that they should look at. I hope they look at some
But
kind of.
that's the same rule as it was before. When if you landed directly on the forehead or on the head, then it was Hansoku. And I think that was really hard for some referee to say, okay, when is it Hansoku and when it's not Hansoku?
Mm-hmm.
I think that IJF know that right now the rules are not optimal in this.
Yeah.
So for me, I still hope it will be. I think it would be easiest to say if the head touched the mat first, and it's a penalty like a Shido on the
Right.
not Hansogo, because it's really like tough. You get a good throw and then you get Hansogo instead. I think it's better to give a Shido. It's
Right.
like the same when it was leg grab in the beginning. It was Hansogo when it touched the leg.
Right.
Now it's on the Shido. I think they wish. I think and I hope they will change it to just give a Shido instead.
Yeah, that I agree. Like it's either got to be we need to alter it so it's not so much like it's more specific or change it so it's a penalty rather than a direct
Yeah.
Hansugomake. And in your home country, whether that's Canada or Sweden or Denmark or Finland or wherever you're at the moment, wherever it is, those places in a development role, they could be more strict if they'd like to protect young athletes. But at the highest level, I think it's a little too brutal to say my ear and that part of my head brushes the ground. I'm kicked out of the tournament. I think that's extreme. So
Yeah.
one or the other. I think one or the other, they got to make some change. And yeah, exactly. Like I remember after 2012, I think it was after 2012 where they got really strict with the leg grabs, and people were transitioning into Newaza grabbing the leg, and they're saying it wasn't quite transition and getting directly Hansoku'd, and now it's just a penalty. So I do think that's probably the move in this case too.
Yeah, but I also think I think IJF understand. Okay, maybe this was a little bit too much to give the Hansoku. But
I
on the
hope
other
so.
hand, they cannot change it in the qualification up to the
Right,
Olympic Games. No?
right.
Um,
Yeah,
but
the
that's
new
also,
rule set will be out in January, right? Probably. I think
I
January.
guess, probably something like that, or maybe try something new now. Yeah, now it's summer. We'll
Right.
see.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the one that I do agree there needs to be some movement. Trying to think what else. People were also people are also complaining about gripping, about how you can or cannot grip. That's historically been how it always has been. So two grips on one side compared to a regular grip, that's always been penalized if you don't use it quickly. And the reason is if you grip two on one side for a really long time, then you can use that to be defensive. And what we're trying to promote is people throwing. So I have zero issue with how they call gripping right now. I don't know what people are talking about when they're complaining you can't grip certain ways. That's always been the case. Like back to the 80s, 2-on-1 was a penalty if you held
Yeah,
it too
like
long.
I think right now a lot of people are complaining about removing with two hands and let go of the grip. A lot of judokas during the Olympics get cheated for this.
Right.
Uh, but I think it's a good, I think it's a good rule that you're not allowed to remove the grip and just let go of the hand.
Yeah, I agree. You're
Yeah,
not trying to do judo. That's
yeah.
I'm again, that's another one that
And I know like some people are saying, yeah, but the other one is like pulling back the hand at the same time. And yeah, but
hold
still,
on to it then.
you have to hold on it. You know when you're removing the grip, you know you have to make sure you have a good grip when you remove it, and you have two hands against one hand. That hand is not going to uh, slip away.
Okay,
So
I
I
got
think the gripping rules. I think these gripping rules are good right now.
yeah.
Like on my time when I was fighting, we were not allowed to remove with two hands. Now we're allowed to remove with two hands. I think it's more dynamic the judo are
Yeah,
now. Before it was just the strongest one who had the grip.
right.
Now two hands against one hand, yeah, you will always be able to remove that hand, and it's more dynamic.
There is one gripping rule that I think is weird though. And I think this is the last negative thing we need to bring up about the rules, right? You don't have a whole bunch of other rule set things to talk about. We've covered
maybe
most of it.
Maybe one more.
Okay, so I got one and then you got one. All right.
Yeah.
So mine is, explain this to me. Why did we remove the ability to clinch someone without having a grip established? The reason that I bring this up is we want to talk about the dynamics. I'm fighting you and I want to do Kosoto Gake from a clinch or a Mongolian Uchimata or something like this, or an Uranage. If I come in and I bear hug to attack, that's super dynamic. That creates a pawns. It's very aggressive. I don't know why they made the rule you had to have a grip before you did that clinch. And we used to, back in the day when we did leg grabs, you'd think 12, 15 seconds left in the match, the person would sort of dive in and kind of marote gari double leg to try to throw. And that created the odd pawn. So that's one where I'm like, get rid of that rule. Makes no sense to me. Why are we saying you can't just hug someone and immediately throw? Isn't that what we want? That one's a little weird and it's very specific. It's only grabbing the clinch, but I don't understand that rule, why it's in place. I'd love it if the IJF, here's the other thing I'll say just about rules in general. I think the IJF needs to do some rebranding and like educate in a way so that people have a better understanding, so that people don't look at it as such negative, like promote that look at what we're producing by creating these rule sets. But I would love like a Daniel Laskow or something to explain to me why we can't clinch immediately to try to throw. I don't know what your thoughts are on that one.
I think he has a good explanation why.
On that one?
Yeah, I think they have a lot of explanation on everything. With the Korean Surinage, I thought, okay, why is that forbidden? But then there was
it's an elbow lock or standing armbar.
No, it's about the concussion with Uke, I think.
What I heard was the Korean Seo, the reverse Seo, is technically you're doing a standing armbar to throw me this way.
I heard something else, like it's a concussion in the head because you are like falling really backwards, up, down on the head.
Yeah, but Osoto does that. You fall harder with Osoto.
But I think
fall harder with Uranage.
I think they I don't know. Yeah, but I think they have or they have some, for sure they have some ideas why they have the rules that they have now. So
right, but to that, here's the exact point I'm making. You and I have done judo literally our whole lives. Your father was a sensei. I have two big brothers that did judo. I started going to the dojo as a literal infant. So did you. We've done judo our whole lives. We've never left judo, right? You and I both, being around judo, you recently competed and I've coached at international events for years. We both have a different understanding as to why Korean Seo-inage is banned.
Yeah.
So this shows there's a bit of an error here. Like there needs to be a better way to like be super clear, be super transparent. Tell everybody we got rid of it because it's causing concussions or because it's a standing arm bar or it's both.
But on the other hand, Josh, I haven't looked at the seminars. I know they have been posting seminars on why, and I'm not like, I have read the rules, but
yeah,
I haven't looked at the seminars why when they're explaining everything. And
but I don't think I don't think it's what's the word I don't think it should be required that someone has to watch an 8-hour seminar to understand that. Like little clips of brief explanations. We have a social media world, a little clip. Hey, this is why we got rid of Korean Seo-inage. Neil Adams, boom, he explains it. Perfect. Like, I think that would be an example of like, we have people unhappy with the rule set. We do have seminars that are 8 hours long to explain it. Nobody that's casually watching judo is watching those seminars, right? So like little brief things that are like, here's why we did it. This is why it makes sense. And then people go, oh, okay, cool. Instead, there's like, how many stories have you heard about why they got rid of leg grabs? Or now we have why they got rid of Korean Seo-inage.
Maybe they should do just open question time when they get question and then just fire it off.
Yeah, and just so that it's easy for everybody. This is why we got rid of it. So that's my take, is I do think they're doing a good job in evolving our rule set. When people are really unhappy with certain rules, they have adjusted number of those rules. And that is great. And I really like that. Having video review is a really important thing. Having unlimited golden score while people are disagreeing because of penalties, I couldn't agree more. I think it's the fairest way to end a match. But like, for instance, this one rule that we're talking about with the clinch, I have no reason. That's not damaging. That's not dangerous. I don't know why. No one's ever told me why. I'd love to know why. But that's me.
I could imagine that. This is just my thought. Maybe
Okay.
it's like, when someone's just jumping you and you get like
Injury?
head against head, and
Right.
when I see kids, they just jump each other. They always get their head
Right.
hits each
Right.
other or something.
And
or they maybe want to get a little bit away from wrestling or something.
Right. Right. Yeah. The other thing I think we should say at this time, just because both of us are sort of supporting the IJF's rule set, I just want the world to know neither of us is contracted to work for the IJF. neither of us is paid by the IJF. We haven't been like sponsored to have a conversation and defend them, just to make that part super clear to anybody.
But if the IJF is listening, if they want us to help,
yeah, of course,
we're involved making new rules that we are more than happy to help.
yeah, give us a call. We're ready. We'll even rebrand the future episodes of the podcast wherever they want, Speaking of, I was thinking a really good idea for the podcast: Swedish meatballs, Canadian maple syrup. So like the meatball and the maple syrup, I think would be a really, really good idea for a podcast name. We'll see if that sticks. Not really judo specific.
Then we maybe have not our judo fans listening.
Yeah. We might get more of a food culture listening to our podcast.
But Josh, I was talking with one friend the other week, and then he said something stupid like, but what if there were no passivity Shido? And
God.
Then they're like, yeah, but yes, maybe remove the passivity Shido. Because what is the passivity Shido?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's when you get a Shido by not doing anything. But why are you not doing anything? Because you don't have the grip, or you don't have the opportunity to do anything. Mm-hmm. It doesn't destroy the game, because the other one not attacking don't destroy the game. Like, of course, you shall have a Shido if you like standing very pent or like doing really defensive judo, but not attacking is not a defensive bad judo. You are more open for the other one to attack. So removing that, because in some fights during the Olympics, it was one guy, he just attacked the whole time, so the other one didn't have time to attack.
So I have one pushback. Because you think this might be a good idea?
Yeah, because then you cannot, like, some guys are hunting that Shido. They have to 4 attacks off each other, and they know if he just attack one more time, the other one will get a passivity Shido.
Yeah.
So he has take a bad grip to a bad attack. He's not trying to throw, but it's not bad. So he will get the.
It's not a false attack, but it's not a good attack.
Shido.
Yeah.
But it's not a good attack. And then the other one will get a passivity Shido because he haven't done anything. But the other one, he has to false attacks, but not so bad. So they recognize it as false attack.
My first thought is one person's attack in this scenario. It makes sense. We have one person attacking, one person not. I don't know if you remember when the Japanese got the double 8 Hansokumake in the finals of was that a Grand Slam? Do you remember that? It was heavyweight.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
It was 2 heavyweights refusing to attack at all. Right? Yeah. So if you have no non-passivity, where is the motivation for either person to attack? Both people do nothing.
Because you
can't penalize either one.
No, so just wait. I think
how long?
I think wait for how long as you want, because I think some people are like I guess many of the people want the fight to end after 4 minutes, and that's why we have the passivity Shido. But why wait for? Why can't the fight be for 10 minutes? Like, everyone remembered the fight between Abe and Mariama that was 30 minutes.
Right.
It was really nice fight. I was really excited to see everything, and it was a good fight. And that would be really bad if it ended after 4 minutes with some Shido.
Right.
And the motivation is to win.
Right.
Like all of us. The motivation is to beat the other one and throw for ippon. You should not be motivated to make a Shido because you have to make an attack.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting for sure. It's an interesting idea.
Because you have to always you should not attack if you have a bad grip or bad position.
Yeah.
So in some cases, when one is just attacking and the other one don't have a good grip, he's not supposed to attack there, because he like if the fundamentals in judo is to find that good position to use the force correct way.
Okay. Can I say one thing that's like, I guess you could say politically incorrect? The 57 kilo Korean judoka, if you put this non-passivity, if you take away non-passivity, does she ever win a match ever again? That's my question. You know, she literally wins matches by just out attacking her opponents. They don't do anything because they never get a chance. Maybe her record goes to like 0-100. Yeah.
That's exactly why this rule have to be there.
Yeah, that's an interesting.
Because nowadays some people are just fighting for this.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you're getting bad attacks, which are false attacks because people are attacking to not get penalized. Yeah, that's interesting.
But I don't know if it will work. I think it will be interesting to see.
It's
because for me, if I fight with someone, I remember I had one fight when I was fighting, and I was counting the attacks afterwards. I did 2 attacks in 4 minutes, and I didn't get penalized for it. Like I didn't get the passivity shield. Like if you just read the rule book, I should get the
for sure. Yeah, within 45 seconds.
Yeah. But if I look how I was fighting, I was not fighting defensive. I was fighting really open, and I was always looking to get the ippon,
Right.
But I was never in a good position. But I didn't block my opponents. I didn't like destroy his judo. I didn't destroy my own judo. I was always like chasing, try to get in there, but I was never in there. I was in the 2 times only.
Right.
And then I attacked.
But
I was always looking to get in the good position. And this is how you should be. Like you have to try to get in that position where you can throw. But if you're not in that position, don't throw.
Right. It's initially when you said it, I thought it was a terrible idea.
Yeah, I also thought it in the beginning, but then I was start to think about it, like,
it is an interesting idea. You can still penalize false attacks. You can still penalize bad posture. You can still penalize gripping. All these are creating negative judo. We just don't penalize people for not having a high attack rate. Yeah, that's the interesting idea.
And especially like when you're really tired, and I know like some plus 100 guys when they're in golden score, they're really tired. Then the attacks are not there anymore. Right. And I know like most of the referee, they also know like, okay, now we don't need to penalize because they are so tired they cannot even stand. But this is how it should be, I think, because they're not doing bad judo. They are so tired and they have no force. But we know they will come off throw soon because they are so tired.
Right.
And then usually it's an up with a big score.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Like with the plus 100 team final, then it was big score in the end when Saito was tired.
Okay, because you mentioned that, let's go to like exciting moments or exciting things that happened in these games. Like what? There's one that stands out to me, which isn't really a judo action that I thought was really beautiful moment that I really loved. So that was the bronze medal match of 100 kilos, Switzerland against Israel.
Yeah.
You saw this?
Yeah, I saw the end of it. Yeah.
So what I liked about this might seem negative, but what I saw, this is what I love about judoka. So you had an error by the scorekeeper when they gave Peter Palchuk his first penalty. They accidentally put 2 up on the board. He knows he only has 1, but he hasn't checked the board to see. You figure it's going to change. It doesn't. He gets a second penalty. They call that the third penalty. He's also up a score, and there's about 15 seconds left or 10 seconds left. So
5 seconds left in the end.
5 seconds. Okay. So he's up a score. There's 5 seconds left. They give him his second penalty. They call it his third. He's disqualified. He's like, no. I'm not leaving. Like, that's not the right call. So does Oren Smaja, his coach, says the same thing. But what was cool is the ref is sort of indicating, get off the mats. I already gave the match away. And what was awesome was Daniel Ike, Is it Daniel Ike?
Yes.
Anyways, the Swiss player, he doesn't move. And I love that. This is a bronze medal match. You're at the Olympic Games, and he's just like, I'm not winning this way. If they keep that call, he
But
wins.
didn't he celebrate in the beginning?
My memory,
I think he
maybe my memory is
celebrated in
not
the
very good, but
beginning.
my memory is he realized the call was wrong and he stood there and was like, no, I'm not leaving until they fix it, knowing if they fix the call, he doesn't win a bronze medal. So that stood out to me as something that I thought was pretty cool. That's very judo specific, where in other sports you might have seen people be like, yeah, and then run off the mats to try to get away with a cheap, medal and hope that the call stands. Him sort of just standing there being like, no, that's not cool. That was one of my favorite moments of the games.
I thought it was really fun because like I remember the like last seconds because I had the training at the same time, so I was just like watching the big screen,
Right.
and then I could see like the referee. It was a woman, I think, in the bronze one. She could see that like Palchik, he did so many mistakes the last 30 seconds. He did so many Shidos, and the referee knew like she was looking at the board like, hey, he has two Shido. What is he doing? Like, I'm not giving away. He has a score. And I could
Right.
see she was holding the Shidos back. But then in the end, she's like, I have to give Shido for this.
Right.
But because I guess she was thinking, like, what is he doing? He's so stupid. He has two Shido
Right.
already.
Right.
Because he was doing so defensive. And then, of course, he was ahead. And then you should play like that. But he didn't look at the scoreboard. So,
Right.
uh,
What's a moment that stood out to you as like a fantastic judo moment?
of course, when Teddy won the team final, like,
Yeah, that was epic.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, France back-to-back world Olympic team champions. Pretty awesome moment.
But I
Also,
think I thought I had a better team this time. I like it was a surprise in Tokyo, but now I thought they were gonna win
yeah,
because they were strong in the right categories. Like they had a strong, like in the plus they had strong in 57, they had strong, and in 70 they had strong. So I thought they were gonna be for victory for Japan.
right.
No, for France they were
Yeah,
gonna be for victory for France. But then their good guys lost,
yeah.
and it looked bad.
So that's the other one that was really interesting is you had two athletes from France compete in the Olympics that were host nation invites. They didn't even qualify by continental quota at 35, ranked 35 in the world, Gaba at 73 and 81 kilos. He was ranked 38th in the world. I can't remember his name right now. Those two athletes took a silver and bronze, and they wouldn't have
Yeah,
been.
the 90 guy, the
Oh,
90 guy,
90.
not
Sorry,
the
not 81, 90.
yes.
So two people that wouldn't have been at the Olympics otherwise that medaled. And not only did they medal, my question is, as a 73 player, and we've sort of talked about this a little bit before, but when an athlete's this successful, the age he is, I know it's a different weight class, but Gaba goes to the Olympic final as a host nation invite. He's maybe 25 years old, 24, 25,
Yeah, maybe younger. He's
maybe
young.
younger. He makes the Olympic final. Then he goes to the team, and even though it's a different weight class, he beats Abe Hafume, which hadn't lost on the international circuit in 5 years. He beat someone who's unbeatable, even with the weight difference. That's the best week you could have in judo. That's you know, Abe could end up with a better resume than Ono. Like he's pretty ridiculously spectacular. So to beat him and win an Olympic silver at the same time in 1 week at that age, is Gaba gonna be like 2028? Is he gonna be like? It's also an interesting division in terms of age of athletes. Is he going to be one of the guys we expect to win in LA Games in 2028? Because that's a hell of a week.
Yeah, he had a good week. I hope he will be one of the guys. I think he's a good guy, Gaba. But for me, I think it was more impressive he was silver at the Olympics than beating Abe, for sure.
Yeah.
I thought like if I think I would bet my money on Gaba when he was fighting Abe.
Really?
Yeah, like Abe is good in 66, yes, but it's a way different, and I know Gaba's style also, and I know this style is not so good for Abe as well.
Hmm.
So I thought he was going to win this fight.
Yeah, I agree. The Olympic silver medal is bigger, but when you have the other thing happen too, it sure doesn't hurt, you know? It's like
It doesn't hurt. I
that's
think it's
that's
just
a that's a nice
good for
little
him.
bonus at the end.
I think I'm, and now I didn't see the fight between Abe and Gaba. I only saw the throw because I was still having a training at the same time, so I was
Right.
just looking at the big screen. So I saw I saw the throw in there,
Right.
but I heard that like Abe was really good in that fight against Gaba, and
Right.
then Gaba gets the throw in the end. Um, so I'm more impressed that Abe did such a good fight against Gaba.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the other thing that's interesting, just in 73, like you look at the age of a lot of those judoka, like what happens in the next 4 years. Um, Artur Margelidon of Canada, of course. Don't know if he continues competing. He's around that age that a lot of athletes retire. Great career. Um, Hashimoto.
Yeah,
Does
Japan
Hashimoto
has to
step away?
yeah, I guess he will step away. Japan needs to send a new one.
Yeah. And then you have
Lasha will
Shavdudashvili,
also stop.
Lasha.
Yes.
Yeah. He's gone, he's medaled in 3 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was his fourth Olympics. So does he have a fifth Olympics in him? That'd be that'd be a lot. Haydarov's still really young. Gaba's still really young, but a lot of the people that have like had really great careers. I mean, I guess the athlete from Switzerland, Niles
Stump.
Stump.
Yes.
Yeah, he's still got a games. He's only like 27, so he
Yeah.
probably got another one. But yeah, a lot of the like big hitters in that division, it's sort of transitioning out. So sort of interesting to see where the next 4 years goes with the quality of players in that division. And then the other thing, I don't know if you know this, but stood out to me is the Mongolian judoka that medaled in the last Tokyo Olympics,
Sandor Chir.
Sendo Shir. He medals in those Olympics. He wins a world and then vanishes from the planet Earth. I don't know what happened. I don't know where he is. He's
He
young.
vanished.
Yeah, he vanished. He's gone.
Yeah.
It's like he wins an Olympic medal, wins a world championship, and then he's like Batman, gone. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that guy. If he's coming back or where'd he go or what happened? Because that's a
I guess no one knows.
yeah, no one. Yeah, we're gonna have to. I thought maybe your
Yeah.
connections, you might have the answer to
No, I
that.
don't know. Actually, no.
So if anyone from Mongolia is ever watching and you know Sendo Shir and you know what he's doing, shoot us a link. Let us know what's happening. Is he still doing judo? That'd be
I
good.
guess it's still doing judo. Everyone in Mongolia is doing judo. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's true.
but
Yeah,
I
they're all
don't.
very good at it.
I think that he's really happy with his career, and yes, we'll just say
Huh?
so.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Like Jung from Korea. His career was he was 78 kilos and then 86. He won the 93 Worlds, 95 Worlds, 96 Olympics, 97 Worlds. So that's only over a 4 year period. He fought Worlds and Olympics and then retired very young.
But he's still coaching and he's still involved with judo. So
Right. But I mean his judo career as a competitor,
yeah,
he went undefeated at Worlds and Olympics and he went from 93 till the end of 97 and then I think he retired right after that. So he just was like go crazy, win everything and then end quick. So maybe that's the Sendo Shear following his model.
I
So
can understand why because it's really tough to be on the top.
right,
Spend a lot of time away from home. So
right. Yeah, I
ah,
hear you. We also, I think I saw something come out about your country, your country mate.
yes,
We had a bit of a controversy.
yeah, with our yeah,
So,
she. I guess everyone that's listening, I guess they seen the semifinal when she complained a little bit too much
right.
with the referee, and I also think she like touched the referee and like put down her arm and something like this. So, and this is
Big
not the
no go.
judo way. So now she get a 3 month. Uh, she's not allowed to do any competition or training camp for 3 months. So
Right. Yeah, there's two two decisions that were a little surprising in that regard that happened in the Olympics. One is, I think a lot of people expected her to be directly Hansoko Maked for touching the referee immediately.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna.
So that would have had her not get an Olympic medal. So that's one. In that semifinal, she wouldn't have got to fight for bronze. Someone else would have won it. So that's a big one. So that's a little surprising, but they did let her keep the result, but now she's suspended for 3 months. And then the
Yes.
other one is,
But I knew that I know they talked about it before, like before the fight, if she was allowed to fight or not.
right,
So they decided on the spot that she was allowed to fight, and
Right.
then they had to accept the result. And now I think it's fair that she gets suspended for 3 months. I think it's good they also show this is not okay.
right,
But on the other hand, she's really young. She's 18, so she will for sure learn.
right.
And sometimes she do stupid mistakes, and now she learned it the hard way.
And that's the first ever Olympic medal for Sweden, I think, right?
Yes.
Pretty
So
exciting.
we can keep it.
Yeah. You get to keep the medal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other one that was surprising was 60 kilo Nagayama against the Spaniard with the choke.
It was the only two things that was exciting. Oh, it was a lot of like these Olympic. It was a lot of stuff that like complaining and
yeah, but I say like I'd say ones that have legitimate like what happened here moments, like legitimate, this is kind of weird. Those are legitimate weird things. They call mate, they clearly call mate. He continues to apply the choke, and then they score an ippon clearly after the mate and Newaza, not a throw. So that one's like those are two legitimately controversial moments of the Olympics.
Yeah.
Now every Olympics has controversial moments, right? But those are legitimately head scratching. Like,
but on one hand, what does the rule say about Newaza? The rules say as long as the referee think it's going to be a score or a technique that is giving a score, it's going to happen.
right.
The referee had to let the game continue. Like if I try to get my leg free, if the referee think I will get my leg free, then the referee can let me work for so long as he wants.
Mm-hmm.
If he thinks I can get it free in the end, you should only call mate when he thinks, okay, he will not get his leg free. And on this way, like the referee didn't think that Garrigos would get this Shimevasa.
Mm-hmm.
So he calls the mate, but that was the wrong call because clearly it was on.
Yeah.
Then, like, the thing is that if Nagayama saw the mate and started to relax,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think he saw it. But if he saw it, then of course it's really wrong. But if he didn't see it, I think it was a bad call from the referee, and the mate should never been there.
Right. Yeah. Just he had clearly called mate. I mean, to be clear, it's not like a minute passed. It was a couple seconds after the mate where he clearly finishes it. So I guess
and I know sometimes they call the mate in the throw.
For sure in throw, we've seen that tons of times where they call mate, action's already occurring, they keep it going. So in that regard, it's the same. And that's why I was mentioning like Newaza compared to Tachiwaza. In Tachiwaza, we've seen this a million times. Action's already happening. They're calling mate. The person finishes an uranage at the boundary. Ippon scored. We've seen that a lot. We just haven't seen it in Newaza. So I guess what this says is, or what the IJF should address is that the rule going forward, that if we call mate, but within a short period of time it finishes, it continues, like continuation in Tachiwaza, or was this a mistake? Just because you have to sort of set a precedent one way or the other. So I think that would be important to clarify. I think
it's really important. I think it's really important to look at uke. If the uke can see the mate and the uke start to relax.
Right. Yeah.
But we have seen many times before, like now, we've seen many times before the mate is called, and now it's just in the Olympics. We've seen the mate is called, and then when they stand up, the other one is passed out.
Right.
Especially like in the Shimevasa when you're on turtle and you just take it. You cannot see if he's passed out or not.
Right. Yeah.
So we've seen it before, and I think it was a good call. They gave the ippon for Garrigos.
Right. Yeah.
I think maybe the referee, I know it was like 4 or 5 seconds afterwards, right?
Yeah, it's not long. I don't know if it's
I,
I don't think it's 5 seconds. I think it was more like 3, but again, my memory may not be clear. I may be remembering it just as a
okay, but
fan.
if it's if it's just 3 seconds, then yeah. But if it's 5 seconds, then I don't understand why the referee didn't do anything like before, like
Right.
go and touch and say, "Oh, it's Mate,"
Hey, we already called
because
Mate.
clearly they didn't hear it.
Yeah.
And I don't think that Garrigos was just heard the Mate and was just continue pushing. I don't think that.
Right. Right.
I
Yeah,
think
that would
I
not be
think
cool.
oh, that would not be cool.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think they didn't hear it.
Right. The other thing that I think we should talk about is the venue.
They were really small.
Okay, it was really small, but it was also bumping. Like it was exciting when we were calling it. So just to explain this a little for people that don't follow or don't know, I was calling it for the CBC. CBC is the broadcaster of Canada. So in the building where I was calling, I wasn't in Paris, I was in Toronto, but in the building, it's all the sports are calling. So there's people calling rowing, and there's people calling soccer, and there's people calling also Canada soccer, not a good look, but there's people calling soccer, there's people calling rowing, and there's people calling judo, and we're all together. And so the one thing I kept hearing from the other commentators was, "Oh my God, is the judo venue amazing?" Like when the French were fighting or there was a big match, they were blowing the roof off. Like that was incredible. The team competition, Gaba when he had his run, like when the French were fighting, and also just if it was a good match in general, like a final bronze medal match, the place was bumping, and it was just exciting. Like they were all saying this was their favorite venue to watch because lots of venues, lots of sports, people sort of watch. But when judo was happening, it was incredible. I don't know if I've ever witnessed a scene to me that stood out because I called it. I didn't call the team. Clarice Agbegnou's bronze medal match was unbelievable. She surprisingly loses to Leshki, who wins the tournament in the semifinal. Everyone's totally stunned. She comes out for the bronze medal and annihilates this woman, just smashes her, and the place explodes, you know? That was amazing. And they had these giant head cutouts of the athletes. So when the French were fighting, they'd have these head cutouts, and that was, and it was only about 8,000, where typically I think the Paris Grand Slam or the Tournoi de Paris is more like 13,000, 14,000 in the venue. So it
It's
was,
much bigger for
yeah.
sure.
So it's a smaller venue, but it was packed for every match. And when it was an exciting match, the crowd was in it. So I thought that was something that was very, very cool, especially considering Tokyo, we had no fans at all.
Yeah.
So that was a nice
Yeah.
change.
The French crowd is always good when it's in France.
Yeah.
Like like in the Tournoi de Paris, they're always really good. Like that country that loves judo. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
That
it's
was
really nice to see also the French team are doing so good when it's on home. So like
right.
they know how to step up.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the other thing is we talk about this in sports in general, but people talk about home field advantage in sports and how valuable it is. And I think this Olympics showed us you have a crowd. It's like I was referring to it as like the third lung, these athletes,
But I think it's also like
these
I
athletes out,
also think it's for France. Like the French people, they can do something extra when it's in France. It's the
right.
same with World Championship. They always do good at World Championship when they have the home ground. But I think it's different compared to other countries. Like of course Japan, they always do good in Japan. But
Mhm.
other countries, when they have a World Championship or anything else, uh, maybe they're not doing what they're supposed to do.
Right. But there is definitely some value. And you look at host countries hosting the Olympics. Um, when the Olympics were in Sydney, Australia in 2000, they blew away their medal results prior to that. So there is something interesting about France, especially because it's a very sporting crowd that fills the place, and they know like they have an impact on the French team outperformed expectations significantly. That's for sure. It happened to be in France, and the place happened to be rocking. I don't think all of that's a coincidence. I don't have like data to prove it, but other than look how many people outperformed what you'd expect,
Yeah.
pretty like magical.
And then some people like I really want Clarice to win the 63 kilo, and then
Yeah.
it would be so cool. I think
Yeah, I
if
think
she
so. But the most exciting and most celebrated bronze medal maybe ever.
Think
Like that
about
was,
it would be a gold medal.
oh my God. They wouldn't let her leave the building when she took bronze, you know? So yeah, that was pretty exciting. And then I guess because we should talk about one more thing, which is just because you have retired from competition, that's a couple of years ago now. You run a club in south of Denmark. I don't
In
really
the
know the
middle of
geography
Denmark,
of Denmark that well.
middle of Denmark, middle of
Middle.
Denmark.
Okay, middle of Denmark. So you're now coaching like a developmental team, building up a program in the middle of Denmark, to produce high performance athletes at a club level. And how have you found that transition? Like, how is that different from? Are you enjoying it? Do you love it? That kind of thing.
I really love it. I think it's really fun. For sure, it's something different because now I have to focus on everyone, on
Hmm.
all different styles. Like before, I only focus on myself and making myself better. Now I have many athletes that I have to make better. So uh, I think more about judo now than I did before. Actually, I dream about judo sometimes. Also, it's
Right.
but it's not just about high performance. I also do the kids classes, and I just want the club to be bigger. I want you to be more popular in Denmark, because I think it's the best sport in the world, of course. So fun,
Right.
and make the kids, the small kids, fall in love with judo the way I fell in love with judo.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I've been coaching a long time because I stopped competing at a pretty young age. And so I've been coaching for like, I don't know, 15, 16 years where I've been coaching quite a lot. And so the last few years, that's all that I do, the last number of years. Yeah, and it really changes how you look at it because like one thing that's interesting is when you're a competitor, you're looking to develop yourself, which matches the skill set that you use and the people that you compete against and the reactions that you're going to create. But when you're coaching, especially if you're really set on creating a model that's like athlete centric and not you centric, coach centric, or however you want to say it, is you have to understand so many things that you wouldn't necessarily utilize as an athlete that someone else might love and might be really good at. And then you have to build their judo, help them build their judo around what they love. So, for instance, you didn't historically do obscene amounts of drop seoinage, right? And so
oh,
if you so if you have an athlete that loves drop seoinage and they're very good at it, or seotoshi, more technically correct,
that's
if
the
you have an
sushi.
athlete, yeah, if you have an athlete with a great seotoshi, then developing around that framework rather than around Tommy Macias, the king of weird judo framework, you know?
Yeah, that's true. But that's also like I think that I'm better judo player now than I was before,
Yeah.
because now I know so much more stuff today. Um, like I know the game of judo. I think. I of course my grip is not as strong as it was before, but now I understand a lot and I learn new stuff every day. And also when I when I learn a technique, when I should learn some kids a technique, you really need to analyze the technique and understand what part is the most important things
Right.
and see what's wrong when the other one is doing it.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm with you. My judo as a coach compared to my judo as an athlete, it's not even comparable. First of all, as an athlete, I was left-handed, but now I teach so much judo right-handed that half my
But
techniques are
you are still left-handed. I fought with you. Okay, you're left-handed.
yeah, yeah, for sure I'm left-handed, but my point is especially stuff that I don't use. I feel like some throws that I don't, especially ones I didn't use much, I feel more comfortable doing them right-handed because
Oh
I
yeah.
always teach them right-handed. So like if you wanted me to show a tomoe a Yoko tomoe my Yoko tomoe is better on my right side because I never did one. And now I teach it. So it's actually developed. I'm not throwing you with tomoe but my point is like that's what I utilize, you know? So I feel like some things I've developed more because I'm teaching it that way. And then on top of that, you're expanding your game to be able to teach sort of everything to everyone. It's like pretty fascinating that way.
That's also fun. Judo is so good.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, I'm with you. Well, so that I would say we could go on forever, but the idea is is that we are going to do this on a regular basis. So with that, we don't need to talk forever now because I'll get a chance to talk to you again next week.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Well,
if they have any questions, they should just send a question in and we talk about that.
yeah,
Everything with judo.
yeah, exactly. Anything judo related, we're interested. So shoot us messages. We'll be sharing this on YouTube. So we don't have all the links and all that. We just recorded it now. We'll be sharing it on YouTube. We'll share it on Instagram. We'll probably share it on Facebook and groups and all that kind of stuff to start out. And I hope everybody enjoyed and see you next week.
Yes, see you next week, Josh.